It's kind of like a Monday afternoon, and I'm getting ready to leave soon. So I thought I'd just do like a short little live stream because I know some people like to watch the live streams, and I do like the live stream format. Um, it's fun. So I just kind of wanted to talk about like the last video I made. I think it was a really good talk, and I really appreciate Aya Katz sharing her backstory about how she saw Crystal Gale at the inaugural ball. And yes, the video is about more than long hair, but it also like shares, like Aya has long hair and she just shares, her thoughts on long hair, and then just about how long hair is versatile. So I think it's a really good talk, and it's kind of like what I like to do because I'm not really into I'm not like a hair tutorial channel, right? And for the longest time I felt like, oh, because I like to live stream and talk and share thoughts on my mind, that maybe like that's not exactly what hair genre is. But I disagree. So I feel like sometimes just sharing long hair stories like that are fun because it goes to show you, like, if you don't know who Crystal Gale is, like, you should look her up. If you're into long hair, she's basically like, she's in the 70s and 80s. I mean, she's still a famous singer, but she's the younger sister of Loretta Lynn, and she had four-length hair. And then one of the commenters here, Saxon, looked it up and said, oh, she's the same height as you, 5'2". And I had mentioned I was 5'2", like I did in that talk. So I thought that was kind of cool too. It just goes to show I didn't know that Crystal Gale was only 5'2". I thought she was taller. I wouldn't have known that. It just goes to show you that it doesn't matter what height you are or what your background is or where you come from. Anybody can grow their hair long if they want to, and people used to. It used to be a little bit more common than it is now. I mean, I don't know. Do I want long hair necessarily to become mainstream? Maybe not. And here's the thing, because I don't think it ever will anyway. And like, I don't think, I mean, there will always be a lot of people with long hair, but I don't think it's going to be like the most popular mainstream hairstyle. And I really wouldn't want to either, because I think it's kind of cool that there are people who do their own thing. So like, I was sharing in that video, like, I think it's great. You could be in any field, entertainment, whatever, and just have your own look and be yourself and not follow trends. But at the end of the day, I still think it's cool that there are people that are like that. And maybe, I mean, I don't know. It's not exactly selfish, but I kind of think, hey, it's kind of cool that there's a lot of people who will never think like that precisely. I mean, I think it's kind of changing now. I want to be honest with you. There are still trends, but I don't think it's quite what it once was because of technology and globalization. I think some trends aren't quite what they used to be. Like at one time, it used to be what you saw in media and magazines. Like these were the trends. Everybody had to dress that way. Like that was that. But I think with the internet, people started to realize, oh, if you're into like dressing vintage, like there's people that are into that. And I don't exactly have a vintage look myself, but I do like wearing outfits that are kind of 40s, 50s, maybe 60s inspired. Like, but I'm not against that. Like I do like something that has like a vintage flair to it. I like that, but I don't completely dress completely vintage. I just take like I this used to bother some people too. Like they used to think like if you didn't dress a specific way all the time, like this one guy, I just thought he was really rigid. Like he asked me, this was years ago, like he wanted, like we were just talking online. He's like, can you share some pictures? So I did, and then he goes, but like, which one is your style? Like, which one is you? And that kind of bothered me because I was like, you know what? They're all my style. Like I dress like I wear what I like, but if you looked, like I do think like yeah, I have like kind of an overall style, but maybe it's not exactly like Mark Zuckerberg or like my grandmother. Like my grandmother and Mark Zuckerberg would have been like twin flames or something because they both had a uniform. Okay, like Mark Zuckerberg, he wears the same thing all the time. Steve Jobs, my grandma, like, yeah, they had a certain outfit, like my grandma, like white top, blue pants. Like she had that down to a T. Like you saw her once when you were really young, you saw her once years later, and she was still wearing the same outfit because that worked for her. Same with like Mark Zuckerberg or when Steve Jobs was still, around. they have certain people, they have like a uniform and their own created uniform, like just a certain look. And I have like signature looks where I tend to wear leggings, skirts, but I wear various kinds of skirts, various kinds of dresses. I don't like relegate myself to one specific look. I'm not like, oh my gosh, like, hi, how you doing? Like, if I'm not meeting that specific look today, like, it's all out the window, you know? Honestly though, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I guess that's kind of what I'm leading up to. Maybe I'll try things with hair. I'm taking my long hair channel in a direction that's so much more fun than that. Like, more hair talk. Like, that video I did yesterday, that's pretty cool because this is kind of a new direction that we're going in. New direction, like, because honestly, I have one hairstyle that I really love, the braid. There's another one I might do. Maybe I'll do a bun in the future, but this is not like I like how I do my hair and just don't like to change it up that much with hairstyles. I know what works for me, like happy as a clam in that regard. So yeah, I don't know. Like I'm kind of just going with like this is a direction with my hair channel. More hair talks, more hair thought. Things like just discussing like people who might have long hair, thoughts on long hair. Like that's our direction. Probably not. Yeah, I just do braids. Like straight up honesty time. Yeah, nah, braids. I know what I like. I might do another hairstyle later though that I talked about with my friend maybe. And even that one I'm like, yeah, we'll see if I get to it. If I don't, that's okay too. It's like, yeah, kind of go my own way every day, all the way. Yeah. Yeah, I am actually because the thought was like to try and reach floor length. Like that we'll see. Like I think I can do it. I'm not saying that something but I've already gone this far at this point. I haven't measured my hair again. I kept saying I was gonna measure my hair. I keep saying, oh, I'm gonna measure my hair. But I assume it's a little bit more than 50 inches now. I just haven't measured it recently because I don't know. Like I have a measuring tape, but honestly, the way I was measuring my hair, I kind of have a funny story though. Is it funny? I don't know. Some people would probably be horrified. I'll tell it anyway. I think it's funny because some people are just so a type A person. I'm not a type A person. Like sometimes when I'm around type A people, yeah, they like to have everything precision, organized, and like a certain way. But sometimes when you're around type A's and you're not, you want to like bolt the building, okay? You just want to get out of there. I'm like, when I'm around a type A who thinks like they can organize the shelf better or like they can do something, like I like to organize, but I like to do it in a way that feels relaxed for me, okay? I might be kind of like anxious about some things, but when it comes to like organizing, I don't always think type A people have a better plan. And this is no offense to type A people, but just a lot of type A people, like they would say that they could do things better than other people, like they should be in charge of this and this because their organization or their vision is always the best. But sometimes I'd be like, well, how do you tell a type A person maybe that was their opinion, but you didn't exactly agree with them on anything? You can't really tell somebody like that. So sometimes you're like, when type A's are like controlling a group situation, you'd be like, well, I just feel like going for a walk outside and getting away from that energy. Like that's another thing I didn't always love about just like group dynamics. Just like type A's are very into organizing and having things a certain way and structured a certain way, and like they can't deviate from that. And no offense to them, there are people their minds are just wired that way. that's not how my mind's wired. My mind is wired where if I get an idea in my head, I have to finish it from start to finish, and I can't give up on it. Like that video I made last night, I got it stuck in my head, and I spent a few hours on it. That might not be the video everybody wants to see on my channel, but that was the video that excited me. So anyway, sometimes because I don't have a stool any longer, I got rid of my stool. I just want to see what the length of my hair looks like in a mirror in the bathroom. So I stood on top of my toilet and I filmed myself there doing that just because it's a good angle. And I guess I need to buy a stool or something, but I cracked the toilet seat standing on top of it, and I should have known better. Some people would probably be like, oh my God, could you tell a type A person this? They would be horrified. They'd be like, oh my God, how could you do that? Well, I actually kind of did a style like that once. And I'm not saying I never will, but it would have to be on a day where I have a lot of time and I start really early and I just feel really relaxed. So I guess that's why I don't promise to do certain kinds of styles, because it's not that I would never do it. I just have been reticent to ever promise things like that. Because one time, like somebody, they kept asking me to do like a certain kind of style and I didn't get to it, and then they were getting mad at me because I didn't like promise that I was doing it, but they were just like, oh, why haven't you, and I don't know, it's just like, also too, like I like, it's like I told you before, if you have long hair, like most people with long hair, they know what they like to do with their hair, and they're, I think, like, okay, like a hair tutorial channel, like they're very into trying different styles. I just like to show the beauty of long hair and talk about it more. But the hair tutorial channels, they're very into showing you like specific hairstyles. So I'm not saying I would never do something like that. I just don't know when, and I can't guarantee when it would happen. Like, maybe. Maybe that one's a little bit more doable. I'm thinking about, okay, and I'm not even sure I want to do this either, because I might do it, but since I'm just straight up honest about like what kind of a channel I am, like I'm thinking maybe about doing uh there's somebody called Lady Asian in this Korean drama that I've been watching on Netflix with my friend Aya. Well, she's already finished it, but it's called Mr. Sunshine, and there's a lady called Lady Asian, and she just, my friend had mentioned that the hairstyle this young woman had was just really pretty, and I'm thinking about trying it, but the thing that's just kind of holding me back from wanting to try it is like the sides are French braid, and I don't claim to like I love braiding from up in a ponytail down, but just because it's so simple, I tend to not like anything where you have to pull hair back in a French braid style to do myself, because my arms, they just get very tired and you have to be very precise. And it just feels like a lot of tension on your scalp. So I'm not saying I'll never try it, but the reason I just don't do a lot of French braids is because if somebody else is French braiding my hair, I'm like, yeah, whatever, that's fine. But I don't like having to, like, I like being precise when I draw or something like that, but just like pulling parts of your scalp hair to get that really precise. I did it years ago and I just haven't really done it since, because it's like, I like the way it looks, but it's not like enjoyable to me. I hate having to just like hold something like that. I just like things that are relaxed feeling, like when you braid a low ponytail, it just feels so relaxing, like to me. Whereas when you braid like this, I'm not saying you can't do that. Like a lot of people do it all the time. I just don't. I feel like I'd have to do a lot of prep work for it to look decent. So I don't really do a lot of those kind of styles just personally. Like I really do like a French braid. Like I've done them on my hair many years ago, but I've never filmed it because I tried to once and I didn't really like the way it looked. Also too, like with wavy hair, like I feel like it's kind of damaging too, because you have to spritz your hair a lot and pull it, and I don't know, I just, and the longer my hair got, I'm like, do I really want to have to keep pulling my hair, holding it like this? Some people are okay with that, but I hate things where you have to like hold something and a certain thing like behind your head for too long, and then if a hairstyle it requires movements like that, I'm probably not going to do it. I'm gonna try this Lady Asian one though, because I want to see how that would look. But on a daily basis, like I just don't think I'm gonna be French braiding my hair every day anytime soon. Like maybe I could start trying again, but years ago I did actually like French braid my hair once. And the reason I didn't want to do it was because here I went to all the trouble. I'm doing it on the back of my head. And some people, like, I know you can practice and you get more comfortable with it. But I even had long hair then at that time, like tailbone length hair. And then my friend just told me, oh, it would look so much better if you just pulled the strands of the top of the French braid tighter. And it just kind of turned me off because I'm like, I don't need that feedback from you. Like, here I did this on the back of my head and it felt so uncomfortable. Like, I really had to train myself. I know it sounds weird, but even for me to hold my arms like this behind my head, that's kind of an achievement for me because like 10 years ago, or even like a few years ago before I started doing the hair channel more, I hated like the fact that I can even do this now where I keep my arms behind my head for like an extended amount of time. Like it doesn't bother me as much, but it used to really like annoy me. It's a very cute look. I like the double braid, but it's the whole French braid thing. I just don't like having like I wouldn't mind someone doing it on me. Like if somebody was like, yeah, like I don't know a lot of people that are willing to French braid my hair though, so but if somebody like said, yeah, they wanted to try that, I'd be like, I wouldn't tell them no. Like if they wanted to do it to me, yeah. I just don't like I don't love so I might not be type A myself, but the thing that kind of keeps me from posting a video like that is there's a lot of like not that they should take away anybody's fun or anything. And I don't think type A people mean harm, but I just like I don't post like a video like that because there's so many people that like French braid flawlessly and it's just like it feels they don't have any issues and they don't like get annoyed holding their arms above their head. So just for me, like I haven't really been interested in like posting a video like that yet because I just every time I would try it, like I did try it more recently. It's just I was realizing my hair is so long, like, and how you would have to pull it tight and just try and like, and just the waving and stuff. There were just a lot of elements. It wasn't looking Instagram worthy, if so to speak. Like it just wasn't like I just like simple hairstyles. Like for me, like something. But this is just my thoughts on like hair styling. That's why I don't do a lot of like French braided hairdos. You know. They're pretty. I just never really like the whole having to hold your hair like that and then like the end result people would kind of like bag on it if it didn't look super like polished, but yet I don't know, other people can get away with doing like messy hairstyles. I just don't feel like I have the latitude to do that. Like if I had like kind of an unintentional messy hairstyle, I don't think people would be receptive to it, whereas other people like they can kind of I don't know, so I don't, so I know what my comfort is, but maybe I've kind of held myself back and that's why I haven't tried French braiding again like on camera because I'm like I did try it a few months ago again and I was like I just didn't like how lumpy it was looking on the side and yeah, so but I might try it again. I just really I'm not the biggest fan of the way it looks when I French braid my own hair. That's the truth and that's just why I don't do it. you know It's so much easier just to braid your hair where you don't have to worry about any extra steps. Like braiding is easy to me. Like I can braid in my sleep. I find braiding so easy. Like I'm just like braiding, that's a breeze. I love to braid my hair. Anything where you can just make like a loose ponytail. I love styles like that. Just like simple loose ponytail, braiding, just it's a trifecta in a way. It's 3 strands, right? See? It's a trifecta. But I do like the double braids too. But that's another thing too. I feel like, okay, if I'm going to double braid my hair, I feel like I have to start really early in the day. I want to comb out my hair to where I can like split it apart in half so it looks really good. It's just like, I feel like I need a lot of prep time to do a hairdo like that. I did actually do a braid like that once, though. I think it's on this channel. It's not that. The only thing though is I didn't pancake it. Like I just had little things. So I don't think it looks super bubbly like the way some people do it. But I did kind of do a modified one a while back. Like I think earlier on when my channel was a newbie. In the infancy time of my channel. My channel started back when I had first met this pen pal that I know in person. We kind of don't, well, we haven't talked in years, but yeah, it was interesting. Just like he thought my hair was pretend when we first started talking again, like, because I guess he was coming to the US on business and he's like, our hair, my hair wasn't even as long now. It's just, I just kind of remember that was around the time that I started this channel. I wasn't even posting as frequently back then. Some of my early videos, like I just wasn't, I don't even think I knew exactly what I was going to do with this channel because I've had several YouTube channels in the past. Like I have my other channel, California Art and Mountain Life, and I've posted things on there, but that it just never has gotten the views that other videos have here. And then I wasn't sure, like I just was thinking maybe I'll make a new channel. So I posted a video just about drinking coffee. It was just kind of like a vlog drinking coffee. And I got the weirdest comment on it. It was like this kid goes, "This is not enjoyable for me. I'm a kid and I don't like drinking coffee." And I was thinking, well, you shouldn't be on YouTube by yourself anyway, buddy. Like, what are you doing? Like I think I just said this video is not for children. Like, I don't make videos for kids. Sorry. Like, there are plenty of people that make videos for kids, but no, a video of an adult drinking coffee wasn't for you. Like, where are your parents? Like, I always wonder about that too. Like, why, like when there's kids online and they're weird leaving comments on things, I'm just like, your parents need to know more about what you're doing. That's a parental issue. I'm not here to tell you, like, that's just strange. Unless it was an adult that wrote that comment. I was just like, but that's before I decided to turn it into a hair channel because I was just like kind of posting some like coffee vlogs. Like, well, because I drink coffee all the time, right? So, and I have some water here too. I actually kind of did do a video though like that. I think maybe I will try it again. It might be something cool to try. But anyway, so yeah, when I first started this channel, this is full hair. I'm doing my hair. Um, so when I first started this channel, I think I wasn't quite sure what I was gonna do with it. I'm like, is it gonna be like a coffee vlog? This was back before I turned into a long hair video. But the reason I decided to make this hair just kind of more story time stuff because I'm always talking, and to me talking is more interesting than like look, I edited a video to the Hiltlands and back. You want to see an edited video on my channel? Go watch my last video. Like I pushed myself to bring some back to edit that thing. So I have actually been doing some edited videos. Well, thanks to Aya too, because Aya provided the photos for that story, which was really awesome. It's about a long-haired celebrity and somebody who I think if you're interested in just seeing how there's other people that do have long hair in the entertainment industry, I think that's a great story. So anyway, I decided to finally turn this channel into a long hair channel because on my other channel, I would occasionally post like just videos of me like showing my long hair or talking about long hair, and something happened. Like I noticed that there was interest in that topic. So I decided, why not just make this a long hair channel? And that's how I decided to do that. And I think I've always, like, I'm still going to do long hair live streams and I'm still going to do videos where, like, I just show long hair. But I did have a lot of fun editing that video last night, and I was thinking about it. Like, I got some really good comments on that video, and I love doing stuff like that. I love like talking about issues and like like okay, there's a topic like long hair, but what else? Like, somebody has long hair, but what else about them? Like, do you want to, like, for instance, okay, there are some channels on YouTube where you see people, they model long hair, but do you ever wonder, like, what else about them? Like, do you wonder, like, why they decided to grow their hair long? Do you wonder, like, what they do in their life? So I thought that was really cool, like, to just talk to people. And, I asked my friend, so I talked to her about that. But if I do meet other people that have long hair, well, I kind of did it with my Australian friend, our moocher, as well. Like, we talked about how he's a man and he's growing his hair long, but I feel like if I did meet other people that had long hair, or if there were people that had long hair on this channel, I don't think as many men have long hair, but if there was actually like a woman that just wanted to do like a talk with me about why she had long hair and she was interested, like, I wouldn't mind making a video about something like that. I think it would be fun because I love having conversations with people. So I think that would be kind of cool. Like, if somebody wanted to do that, I'd be totally open to it. Anyway, that's kind of like, so you have to make videos sometimes that just make you excited. Like, even if there's a certain topic that might not make everybody else excited, I feel like, to me, that's how you make YouTube fun. Like, you also do videos that you enjoy, because at the end of the day, this channel is about me and sharing like my take on things. And I feel like if you want to see a unique take on something and you want to get to know a bit about somebody, you're going to embrace like the content that they put out without it always being like something that you request. I really believe in that, because some of the best things I've seen are just random things on YouTube, topics, subjects, vlogs about things I never would have thought about. But it kind of opened my mind to, well, like, for instance, I know most people are not vegan. I had a little bit of a bias in veganism in that my parents were vegan up until I was 5. In fact, I never really wanted to eat eggs, dairy, milk because of that. And then when they started wanting to eat dairy products again, I was revolting. I was like, no, this is so revolting to me. I don't want to eat eggs. I don't want to eat dairy. I don't want to eat butter. And they couldn't figure out why I didn't want to eat dairy products. And I'm thinking, you can't figure it out. Like, you didn't have this, like, you weren't eating this stuff when I was little. And then all of a sudden you're like pushing dairy on me. But I just always thought dairy products were really disgusting. Like, a lot of people, they love cheese, but a lot of people can't relate to me, because one thing I just detest, like, okay, I'll even try vegan cheeses. But to be honest with you, even a vegan cheese can sometimes trigger me, because if it has it's reminiscent of a dairy flavor, I don't like it that much. Like, I'll sometimes make things like with a vegan cheese or something, or try a vegan product that has like a veganized cheese. But sometimes I feel squeamish because they'll have like a texture that I just don't like. Like, I really don't like cheesy texture. And I used to eat pizza, but like, I would always have to have like a really saucy pizza to mitigate the cheese. And sometimes if a pizza was cheesy, I'd be scraping off the cheese and throwing it out. And then most people would just be taunting you. They'd be like, but the cheese is the best part. And you can't tell anybody, or most anybody, except for Brian Gumble. My mom made fun of me because she said, Brian Gumble doesn't like cheese, just like you. Like, there's almost nobody really that hates cheese. Like, I just don't like cheese. I don't like dairy. This is why I think, for me, like, it was just easy for me to go mostly vegan, because I didn't like any of that dairy product stuff. And I was really happy to find that, I could drink almond milk, which doesn't remind me of dairy at all. Like, and recently when people were like, oh, they like oatmeal milk because it reminds them more of milk, it kind of made me not ever want to. Like, yeah, I didn't like the oat milk because it was a little too reminiscent of something actually dairy. So I know it may sound shocking, but there's actually people in this world, they just don't want to eat dairy things. Like, and it turned out I wasn't entirely wrong. because when I took the 23andMe test, it said I was slightly lactose intolerant. And I had always kind of known that because my mom, like when she went back to being vegetarian, she became like really big on dairy. Like they're from the Midwest and well, she just started reminiscing about all this kind of cheese and milk. And I just thought, nasty, nasty, nasty. Like that was just my whole reaction. Like I don't want to drink full milk things. I don't want to eat a cheese sandwich. In fact, like if people had grilled cheese sandwiches, like I used to find ways to hide. Like I would eat everything as a kid. I was very not picky except for with dairy. Like if somebody made me a grilled cheese sandwich, I would find a way to dispose of it. Like that was one thing I was like, I'm not eating that. I'll eat everything else except that. I just had like a fierce hatred of dairy. I didn't like cheesecake. And a lot of people are like, what the heck? Like, you don't like cheesecake? Like, people just look at you like an alien when you say, yeah, I don't like cheesecake. You know, when I tried vegan cheesecake recently, I've never really ate regular cheesecake, so I like vegan cheesecake, but I don't like it that much. Like, I don't love it. I don't love the texture of it. So, to be honest with you, like, I hate the texture of velvet, but I also hate the taste and texture of real dairy. Like, back before I went completely vegan, almost vegan, I didn't like dairy. I like, look, if it's in a donut or something, like, I'd be like, well, whatever, like, can't detect it there, but like, if it was like, oh, you need to drink this glass of milk, I'm like, oh, like it triggered me something fierce. I'm like, no, I don't want to drink a glass of milk. I don't want to eat a grilled cheese sandwich. So yeah, people who love dairy, my parents were like, you hate dairy. Like they were just like, oh, but cheese is so good. And I'm like, actually, it's not. So finally, I decided a few years ago, I'm going vegan. And like that, even though my mom had been vegan like way back in the day, she stopped because she said it was too hard back then. Like, and honestly, I think she just missed dairy. I'm going to be honest with you. I think she just want, like, even though she's vegetarian and she drinks almond milk now, they still eat cheese and butter. Like they're never gonna be fully vegan. So like they're never gonna be on like they don't do what I do. They do their own thing. So I think she still was like, oh my gosh, like it's so funny because even though she had been vegan for 5 years, she's like, oh my god, but you need calcium like to have dairy. And I'm like, you can take a supplement nowadays. Like, you know, some cultures where people don't eat copious amounts of dairy products and they're fine too. Plus I'm slightly lactose intolerant. Every time I used to try and eat something with dairy in it, like I just felt horror. Like first off, it was a struggle to get it down. It tasted horrible to me. Like the texture was just ugh. Like I just couldn't stand it. Like grilled cheese, like even I don't even want to make a vegan grilled cheese. Like I'll make vegan pizzas, like but just a little bit of like the vegan cheese. But honestly, like the vegan pizzas I like the most are where you just put a little bit of nutritional yeast and vegetables on it, and I like that. And people are like, but that's not pizza without the cheese. I'm like, actually, this is a pizza that speaks to my heart. No cheese, please. Finally, I can be myself. And I guess that's one thing. Okay, I'm not an activist, you know. I'm going to be honest with you with the whole veganism thing. I feel like, yes, I know, like, I get it, like, not wanting to eat animals. I don't either. I don't want to eat meat. And I know, like, but at the end of the day, I don't think that is the holy grail for whether you're a kind or ethical person. Like, I don't believe that. Like, I don't think you have to be a vegan. And the more I've just seen how people politicize everything. Like we've got into this world where now you kind of have to be part of a certain in group or you have to be saying all the right things to be like considered like a socially valid person. And it's starting to feel like religion to me. Hi. And I don't do any of that. Like I'm vegan just because like, yeah, I don't want to eat meat, but I think if somebody's a vegetarian, like I'm like, I don't know why that's not good enough for vegans that are so like, oh my gosh, like you have to be like full vegan. And some people aren't going to be. And the reason, like for me, that it kind of works actually is because I didn't like dairy. And I had no interest and desire. And I don't even really like I will try and eat I bought the Follow Your Heart vegan cheese the other day and I put that on a pizza I made and It was a little bit better than Dia cheese, the Dia vegan cheese. But I didn't even really like that either. Like I'm telling you, I just don't even want the vegan cheese substitute. Like it reminds me too much of the texture of cheese. Like I don't like it. I don't crave it. So for me, like when I became a vegan, it's just kind of because it worked for me. But there's a lot of people out there who they're vegetarian, and I think that's fine. And people will be like, well, being vegetarian isn't good enough. Like you need to do this. And I'm like, gosh, really, it's gotten pretty like I don't feel like anybody has like look, I don't want to eat meat, but I'm not going to tell you that you should stop eating meat. Like it's just kind of too much. It's just like, and that's kind of the way I felt ever since I went pretty much vegan. I didn't go vegan because I wanted to make other people go vegan. I do share what I eat because it works for me and it's just like something I like to share. But it's not like with this agenda. It's not like I want people to do what I do because I think we're all individuals. And I think at the end of the day, like I'm never going to eat a steak. Like I never have. I've never ate hamburger. I didn't even eat chicken that much. So I just feel like, look, if you want to become plant based, like try it, but I want to do it to try and get social acceptance from a group of people or anything. I want to do it for those reasons. Thank you. So yeah, so that's just my take on the whole like food fighting thing because I feel like there's always some so like and that's another thing too, like with social issues. We've gotten to the point now where everybody's like, you need to support this social cause and you need to say this thing and do this thing and these are the things good people do. And I'm like, when does that just start to feel like a religion? Like, does that ever like you might as well just go join a religion if you feel like you have to be part of a social cause. But then I don't know, some people that are in activism, they make fun of people in religions. I'm just like, ugh. At the end of the day, this is why all these groups really don't appeal to me. I'm kind of more individual that way because I just like to get to know people one on one, but I don't have a desire to be part of a group. I'm growing my hair like right now to floor length. That's the goal at the moment. Just checking the time. Make sure I'm not like getting too far out of time. So yeah, my thoughts on 2021. Um, every year is what you make of it. Maybe last year we were kind of all bummed out, because of what was going on in the world to some extent, although it hasn't super improved yet. But I sort of am beginning to want to step away from any kind of social commentary on what we all must be thinking and feeling because I feel like there's a certain okay. This is what my hair looks like. So if you want to talk about mental positivity, I feel like there's something to be said for previous generations where, yeah, people might have had social causes, but it wasn't like life and death, like where, well, not to that extent, but where people weren't judging each other and they were like, oh, you're a Trumpy, you're a Bideny, like it just people could have like their own views and they didn't like block each other. They didn't talk to each other. And I think a lot of it had to do with, well, there was less like there's good things that have come out of technology, but there's not so good things that have come out of technology. And I think in 2021, this year can be whatever you make of it. Like, yeah, things are different now, but I'm like, you know what? I feel like I want to try to be positive about things that are going well in my life without maybe listening to branding and messaging of what like the news says I should be thinking and feeling. Like, I'm not saying you can't be up on current events, but I do think it's good to put a limit on how much of it that you expose yourself to, because I don't think continuously exposing yourself to the news cycle where there's one negative story after another is necessarily good for yourself or your day. And also, there's just so many other topics in the world besides what's on the news. Like, that is not, like, you can go on Google News, by the way, and you can type in, like, news about, I don't know, DNA, news about, I don't know, elderberry grass, like anything really. Like, there are other news stories that are not going to be the trending ones that you could actually read about. So there are ways that you could partake of the news without it being all these negative news stories, but you're going to have to kind of look for it yourself. And this is kind of where I got in a debate with my mom. She goes, but they said on the news that if you go online, those aren't real news stories. I said, well, that's actually not true, because you can find news articles written from around the world. They're just about other things. They're not always about this negative story. In fact, a lot of local news stories, they still cover things that are interesting and insightful and not all shocky. Like, I'm not talking about Southern California news, because like Southern California news, they do kind of look for the negative spin. And I know other news agencies might to some extent, but I've seen some local news stories where they're just covering things that were kind of inspirational or just like things happening in the town. Like, and I know some people are like, well, or just like, or you can look up news about like research and archaeology. Like, there are other things happening in the world besides what Joe Biden is saying at the moment. I'm just saying, like, that is not the only news story. And if you think that's the only news story, like, you could actually, if you want to partake of the news, you could start looking up some other news stories, and you could kind of ask your friends, well, did you look this up about like research in Turkey about a certain type of archaeology or something? And they might be like, what the heck are you talking about? But you could just make a point that you can know things about the world without just always only focusing on these few news stories that they're always promoting. And I'm not saying that the world's completely a positive, happy, starry, sunshiny place, but I also think too, at the end of the day, the news cycle that's promoted is not really that educational, because we're not always learning something new. Like, we might learn about one topic, like the pandemic, but there's other topics that I mean, there's a lot of innovation that they don't really talk about on the news daily, because it's going to be a topic that isn't sensationalized or isn't made to like seem like, oh my gosh, like, it's going to be more mundane. Okay, like, some people think mundane is boring, but not necessarily. Or it's going to be more detailed, where you might actually have to read something. Like, you're not going to have a news broadcaster like tell it to you. So it's not like, I'm just saying that you can actually partake of the news in a more positive way, or just learn about things that are interesting to you. It doesn't always have to be like the only thing you're learning is, oh, what's going on in this news cycle. Like, you can kind of change it up, and I think it just makes you feel more positive too. Like, I find when I step away from that, I feel a little bit more positive. Just my personal take, but do what works for you. But yeah, my hair's done, and I'm gonna wish you. Nobody likes their hair to get pulled in a braid. No. Have a nice day.